As a coaster enthusiast, no matter how many really good roller coasters I ride, there will always be more out there that I just can't wait to finally get on. And that's why in this video, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 bucket list roller coasters. And this is actually not how I think they would rank once I ride them, but more of just how much I want to ride them and how far I would travel to them. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that this is actually a remake of a video I did a few years ago. But that video was, well...
or lack coaster.
Anyway, something I did in that video was for some reason I only included roller coasters outside of North America. I don't know what I was thinking, but this video will be including roller coasters from all over the world, so let's get right into the video. Starting at the number 10 spot is Voltron at Europa Park. This is one of two new for 2024 mock coasters on this list, but we'll get to the other one later. The pacing on this ride looks completely insane, especially in the second half after the top hat, where you go from element to element, getting eject airtime on every hill. Even if the first half doesn't look quite as crazy, the second half completely makes up for it. Not to mention the really cool looking Croatia area and electricity theming that comes with it. Next up at the number 9 spot is Fury 325 at Carowinds. This is one of those roller coasters that you never hear anyone say isn't one of their favorite roller coasters in the world. It looks to have a really good sense of speed and shockingly strong airtime for a B&M. And the drops in B&M Gigas look like they just last forever. Millennium Force's drop was one of my favorite coaster moments ever, and I'm sure it would be no different with Fury. Number 8 is Formula Rossa at Ferrari World. I mean, come on, you knew this was going to be somewhere on this list. It's the fastest roller coaster in the world, for now. And the launch might just be the best on Earth. I love launches, and they can completely impact how much I like a roller coaster. And unlike Top Thrill Dragster and King to Ka, you keep that speed for the rest of the layout, and it's a pretty long ride too. At number 7 is Voyage at Holiday World. This coaster goes on forever. It's the second longest wooden roller coaster in the world, and the longest non-family wooden roller coaster. Before Steel Vengeance, it also had the most airtime on any coaster. But honestly, I think this looks better than Steel Vengeance because of how out of control it looks. There's nothing quite like a wooden roller coaster, especially the ones with PTC trains, as long as it's smooth. And night rides on it look completely unreal. Number 6 is my number 1 bucket list coaster in America. It's Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. And one big reason I put this on here is because I've never ridden a new gen Intamin. And I hear this one's the best. The newest Intamin I've ridden is Skyrush at Hershey Park, and let's just say Skyrush is a little different. And that Mosasaurus roll in the end might just be the best inversion ever. Starting off the top 5 is a coaster that's very similar to Velocicoaster, and it's Taiga at Linnanmäki. This is like Velocicoaster, but more intense and on a hillside, and I honestly cannot decide which one I would like better. Another thing about Taiga is that it looks like a rare front row ride for me. And you probably know I prefer most roller coasters in the back row. But everything about the speed and imagining going through that 0G stall in the front row and getting a view of Helsinki in the background and the rest of the park just seems so crazy, and I can't wait to get on this thing someday. Coming in at number 4 is Hyperia at Thorpe Park. This is the other new for 2024 mock coaster, and unlike what most people think, I actually think this looks quite a bit better than Voltron. Yes, I know it's short, and I mean really short, but every single element it has looks to be one of the world's best. Like the drop, which is probably the best in the world, and the outer bank, which is also probably the best in the world, definitely better than Steel Vengeance. At number 3 is Eejanaika at Fuji-Q Highland. And this also goes for X2 and Dynaconda, but Eejanaika looks to be the best, so that's the one I put on this list. I can't even imagine what this thing could possibly feel like. The closest thing I've ridden is a 4D free spin, and I can't really say that I loved it, but from what I hear, these feel completely different, and I can see why. The main reason I didn't like the free spin was because most of the time I was just rocking back and forth, but Eejanaika looks completely out of control, and not to mention it's huge. Number 2 is Ride to Happiness at Plopsa Land, Japan, and if you remember on my 2024 list, this was actually at number 1, so what changed? Well, there was just another coaster that I decided to put higher that didn't really exist back then. But this coaster doesn't even look real. It has everything that Time Traveler has, but it looks way crazier. The drop shouldn't be legal, and neither should the double inverting dive loop, whatever that even is. I mean, what even is this thing? Not to mention that loop while spinning is probably very disorienting. It might not be 95 feet tall, but it still looks extremely crazy. And there's also many airtime moments at the end to give it a perfect ending. And now for the number 1 spot. What could it possibly be? Number 1 is Falcon's Flight at Six Flags Qiddiya. What can I say about this coaster besides how it's the tallest, longest, and fastest coaster in the entire world? Not by only a little bit either. And flying it around speeds of over 150 miles per hour around the park, going over speed hills, has got to be one of the best feelings in the entire world. The fastest roller coaster I've ridden is Millennium Force, and even that's one of the best feelings I've ever had, just speeding around turns and hills and everything at 93 miles per hour. So I can't even imagine going 150 miles per hour. And that giant 500-foot hill might just be the best coaster element in the entire world, as long as it gives airtime, which it most likely will. So those are my top 10 bucket list coasters in the world. Comment your top 10 bucket list coasters below, and if you've ridden any of these coasters, how were they? They all look really good, which is why they're on this list. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video.
Cracky.